Hey, everybody. Welcome to the IC Topic Chat for today, September 26th. It is 2024, and I think, what is this, the 203rd? I've got to stop trying to keep count because I'm 200. We did 200 a couple weeks back, maybe 202nd time we've met. We started back in 2020, and back in those days, in the depth of the pandemic, Ann Price and I both decided to do things, but we didn't actually communicate with one another. So Ann, you started the office hours, and I started gathering people around the IC topic chats, and they have different flavors. And I'm going to ask you at some point to talk about office hours, but that's not what you're here for today. Today, you're here to give a presentation about LinkedIn, which is titled Why Matt, which is a reference to me, I guess, and you should leverage LinkedIn for your business, which thank you for the call out on that. And the recognition of the fact that I need a lot of help with LinkedIn. So with that, I'm going to give it over to you, but I'm also going to make sure you say a little bit about your office hours. So take it away, Ann.
Okay, well, we'll do office hours first, I guess, and we'll get that out of the way. So I do office hours the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at noon Eastern Standard Time. It is for new, I've learned to say not young, because not all of us are young, new and emerging evaluators of whatever age. And it's just a place for you to come and bring your questions, like most evaluators, other than Kamani, who would tell you she's not an evaluator, she's a businesswoman. She just likes to hang with us, right? Most of us do not have a business degree, and we're just making stuff up as we go along. So it's I say it's the Las Vegas, right? If IC chat is everything is out there, consider office hours your like cozy place to ask the question that you don't want to ask of this group, which tends to be quite large. I don't present a lot like I'm doing today. I did do it on Tuesday because we were talking about the book Clockwork that Corey Newhouse had mentioned a few weeks ago. So we were talking about the difference between building a business and just being busy. So we do talk about things, but really you just come with your questions. My deal is I'll hold office hours as long as people are showing up. That's been my deal. And so far people keep showing up, usually small group, but you are all welcome. All right. So with that out of the way, let me see if I can convince Matt and maybe some of you why you should be using LinkedIn. So again, my name is Ann Price. I partner with community coalitions and nonprofits to design and evaluate strategies to create thriving and equitable communities. That's my jam. I am a community psychologist, and everything I see, everything I do is through that lens. And a lot of community psychologists who don't end up as an academic, which is something I never wanted to do, gravitate towards evaluation. So there are a few of us around. So again, today I want to try to convince you and Matt that leveraging LinkedIn is a smart business strategy. So let's start with the why. Anytime we're talking with folks, we should always start with our why. Well, LinkedIn is big. It's really big. It has over 230 million users, and that is in the United States alone. You can get direct access to the clients you most want to serve. Here's my assignment for you right now. Hopefully some of you have a piece of paper. Can you right now list 5 organizations that you would love to work with? You're not connected with them now, but you would give your right arm to work with these folks. All right. And then lastly, networking and, supporting your peers, and hopefully they're supporting you. I do not do X, formerly known as Twitter. Not a fan of the current owner. So I don't play that game. So LinkedIn is my primary space to let folks know that Community Evaluation Solutions, which is the name of my company, is out there. We do have a community, or a Facebook page rather, but LinkedIn is primarily where I hang out. And I always tell people, don't follow me on Instagram unless you want to see the bread I made. I made 2 loaves yesterday, or, what I ate for dinner at some restaurant or some recipe that I'm trying out. So LinkedIn is it for me. All right. So let's talk about LinkedIn as a brand strategy. So what is your brand, you say? I don't know if I have one. Well, I hope you do. Now, your brand is not what you say about yourself. It's what other people say about you. So activity on LinkedIn helps you build your brand. It helps you build that SEO, search engine optimization, which I, barely know what it means and how to do it. But it really is all about, those keywords and creating content so that you are more easily found on the internet. And building your brand helps you build that know, like, and trust factor. So things like sharing achievements and testimonials, things like that. And it sets you up as a thought leader and helps you engage in the platform. And by doing those kinds of things, you're building that know, like, and trust factor. You're being attractive to, the clients that you most want to serve or clients that you have served. And you're being seen, hopefully, as a thought leader in our industry and the industry that you most want to serve. All right, so there is a profile. Of course, you have a profile. Let's start with what your profile should include. It should include a photo. Don't be the gray box. That's kind of scary, actually, I think. Having a profile picture will get you 14 times more views than if you don't have a profile picture. And let me just say, to all of my thrifty folks out there, and you know who you are, get a professional headshot done. Just do it. The picture should not be something that your hubby or significant other or BFF took of you. It really should be a nice headshot of you. Let me just tell you a caveat here. Not only am I not a business person, I'm not a marketing expert. I'm learning just like you guys are. And one of the things that I learned from the young lady who does help with my marketing is keeping the branding consistent across all your platforms. So that includes your picture, that includes your logo, the background of the logo, colors, all of the things. When I had my website redone a few years ago, and I had a brand analysis done. Yeah, I got different pictures on all the platforms. How I describe myself is different. I was a bit of a mess. Not that I'm not still a mess, but anyway. All right. Then your headline, right? So under your profile picture, it's going to be your name, and it needs to be something about you. So your value proposition is that big promise. It's that thing that you do. For me, it's all about working with community coalitions. So you want to make sure you're using those keywords and that value proposition. So if you hang out with me on office hours, you're going to hear me say about 1 million times, talk about what you want to be known for. So that's what you put here. And then in the About section, you want to have a summary that focuses on your expertise. And it should distinguish you from others in our field. Okay, I get it. We all do the same thing. We all meet with client. We all do logic models or theories of change. We all develop evaluation plans. We all do data analysis. We all do data viz and write reports. But what is it about you that distinguishes you from other people? This is where Matt would come in and talk about niche or niche. Pick your way of saying it, right? What is it? What is that brand element? What is something that is uniquely you? For me, I'm a community psychologist. And I also started out as a clinician. I used to do mental health counseling. So when I talk about mental health and substance abuse, I have a personal and professional experience with that sets me apart. So let's talk about building brand identity through content. So what you want to do is you want to share industry highlights, trends, maybe evaluation reports. So for example, maybe it's something you've learned about, something really creative, qualitative data collection method that's new and fun that you want to talk about. Maybe you want to share something nifty about how to clean data easier on Excel. For me, I talk a lot about, meet and talk coalition meetings and how to have more creative, engaging meetings instead of the meet and talk. So that's something that I talk a bit about. You want to think about doing things like, of course, using photos and videos. If you're on Instagram or TikTok or all the things, you know that it's the videos and photos that really boost your ranking in the algorithm, get you seen more often. That's true about articles. And I'm going to talk about articles a little bit in a little bit more in just a second. But again, talk about what you want to be known for. This is a GIF, and this is where probably my marketing person would slap my hand because it's not in blue. But anyway, it was a blog post that I had wrote, and I repurposed it as an article on LinkedIn. How evaluators are like the dentist. Like, nobody wants to see us, but everybody needs one. So then try not to just like and share things on LinkedIn. I know I'm probably guilty of that, especially a lot lately because I've been super busy. But really what you want to do is engage in the comments, right? When somebody posts something, not just a thumbs up or a heart, but, some, intelligent response to what it is that they are sharing. And Kathleen Sullivan is having fun in Italy right now at the Evaluation Society conference, but Kathleen Sullivan is great at this. She is great at engaging other people's content and keeping that discussion going. Again, just another way to, engage in the community and build your identity as a thought leader. So at this point, you're probably saying, yeah, I don't have time for this. I do not have time for this. But consistency is really important. Consistency in posting, consistency in connection really helps you build that recognition. And some people say you should, choose one platform and post every day. I would never tell you what you should or should not do, but I would suggest that you post or you're active on the platform at least a couple of times a week. And you're going to find that the more you post, the more connections will grow. Now, at this point, or when I did this a couple of weeks ago, I have 1,400 something followers, 500 connections, right? I'm quite sure that MQP has a lot more than that. It's not about, competing with anybody else. That's not what it is. But we're all, I would assume many of us are data geeks. So I think it's kind of interesting to take a look at the analytics, to pay attention to when I post something, what gets viewed and what doesn't get viewed, that kind of thing. I think it's really fun and interesting. So let's talk about reaching clients. So there is an advanced search function where you can search job titles like executive director or industries like nonprofits and foundations. And you want to connect with those folks. Remember that list I had you make, right? The 5 organizations. You might want to go find those organizations and follow them. You might want to go ahead and connect with the decision maker that you most want to talk to. Send them a personal note and tell them why that you are connecting. And the answer to that is not because I want to sell my services to you, right? The idea is you're trying to build a relationship with those connections. Now, it is easier certainly to make those connections if you have first and second level relationships. So like for example, a first relationship would be I went to Georgia State with them, or I worked at ICF with them, or they've been a former client. They're going to be a first connection versus a second connection. They're going to be like a cousin, like once removed. And I do not have the professional version of LinkedIn. I just use the regular old version that everybody else uses. I thought about it at some point, and I would love to hear if anybody does and whether or not they feel like that's a benefit. But anyway, just a random thought here I want to get in before I forget is make it a point to always connect with your new clients right away. I have not always been great about that. Just make it a habit to connect with your clients right away as soon as you get that contract, or go back and do it if you're not connected with your clients. And don't forget to ask for testimonials and endorsements. And I'll show you a place where that is in a second. Okay, so let's talk about messaging tips. You want to build relationships again through those personalized messages. You can do this privately or you can do it on their, their post, but you want to say, hey, congrats on that new client or congrats on that new job or happy birthday, whatever it is. You want to be personal, you want to be friendly. You want to focus on adding value, offering insights, advice, or sharing helpful content. I did it just this morning when I was on having my coffee. I found a post that I thought a client that we've been working with for about a year. And I found a post that was really going to resonate with them. And so I made sure I pulled it down and shared that with them. You can do that on the platform. You want to avoid hard sells. Again, yeah, nobody likes that. We're not here for that. Really, it's all about those connections, those relationships, and then following up with relevant content is really, really important. Invite them to a conversation. I often get pinged from folks, maybe they've been following me for a while, but I don't know them. I really don't know them. And if I have time, which is not much lately, I like to invite them to, a virtual coffee date so we can get to know each other better and I can decide whether or not I want to connect with them. Now, if it's somebody who is obviously trying to sell me something, it's somebody selling an HR something or a marketing something, I'm not going to accept that kind of invite. All right, so decide who you want to connect with. Do you want to connect with Matt Feldman? Because there are a lot of them, right? You can connect with people you know or people you don't know, but again, have a reason to connect.
And I'm not even listed there.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure you're there somewhere. Obviously, I screenshot that. Yeah.
You got to put in two N's.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
secret.
is that the deal? Yeah. 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 You're like that dude with the goatee, Matt. But a good strategy, or at least one that works for me, anyway, is to follow them first. People do that to me all the time. Follow them first, engage with their content, and then invite them to connect. Now, I wanted to get back to the articles for just a minute, just to hit that a little more. And again, my marketing person would say, okay, well, some of those pictures aren't really blue because blue and aqua are my brand colors. But yeah, a little marketing tip you didn't come here for. But anyway, posting articles again is probably the most effective way to get eyeballs on your regular post, even more than just like posting and commenting. If there is a place where you can write an article and not just a post. So if you can do that, that is really awesome. And I will tell you a couple of people who I think do this really well. Won't surprise you at all. Ann K. Emery, Stephanie Evergreen, and even our good friend Joe. I don't know if Joe's here today, right? Joe does this really well. So schedule your posting. Oh, I've got into Matt's tips and I forgot to count down. But anyway, tip number 3, schedule your posts. So on your page, you'll see this little clock button like right there at the bottom. So you can type your post, insert your picture or your GIF or whatever, whatever that you're doing, or create that article, and then you can schedule it. So if you're going on vacation and you don't want to be on, I hope you don't want to be on your phone or your computer all the time, then you can schedule those posts. Follow your ideal client, tip number 4, and engage with their postings. And we already talked about that. Just, try not to do just a thumbs up, which admittedly I've been doing a lot of lately because I've been so busy, but really follow that ideal client, those 5 people that I just told you to think about, right? Follow them and engage with your content. Do that for a while, date them for a while before you try to message them. And then leverage your network to meet people you want to know. Say that one of those organizations, you don't have any kind of connection, you don't know anybody, but you look at your network and you see that, Kristen or, Megan or Kurt has a connection in that organization. Ask them for that warm introduction. Okay, so a nod to Matt again, tip 5.5, engaged in LinkedIn groups. And this is where my mother would say, do as I say and not as I do. I'm not great about that, but there are industry specific groups that you can share insight, participate in that kind of group, ask questions, be a good citizen, answer questions for other people. Just really, it's just another way you really can grow your network on LinkedIn. So still not sure. I don't have time. Try just spending 10 or 15 minutes just for small, consistent engagement. I'm not comfortable with self-promotion. Neither am I. But what you want to do is emphasize that value-driven content, not self-promotion. It's not about how you can serve. It's not about you. It's about your ideal client. What can you do to offer value to them? Elevate Consulting, the young ladies that started their consulting group out of Nashville does a great job. They had a post this morning. They were out in the community facilitating some conversations, and it was just all about the work. Hey, here we are in the community. This is what we're doing. We're facilitating this great community conversation. Want to learn more? And then a link to have a conversation with them. Just brilliant. I'm not a social media person. LinkedIn is a professional platform. It is not a traditional social media, right? It's for people who are, doing the work. It is not TikTok. So it's not a place you want to post, what you had for dinner last night. It is for connecting with clients, potential clients, and fellow people in our field. So on that note, I would encourage you to connect with me. So you can find us on the website, communityevaluationsolutions.com, on LinkedIn at AW Price CES, or don't forget to check out my podcast. I got to get that in there, Community Possibilities, where I talk to community leaders who are doing the hard work of social change. This week, my guest is the one and only Nikki Bowman. So I hope you check it out. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. I hope that was helpful. Matt, have I convinced you?
Somewhat, but I have a couple questions for you. So
Well,
you answered some of them. So this
I
is
may
great.
or may not know the answer.
So
All right.
you threw out the idea of a logic model earlier, right? So just thinking logic models, we just by definition, this whole session was about how to. So you gave us kind of the inputs and the activities and some of the outputs, but talk to us a little bit about the outcomes. What has resulted for you as a result of being more actively engaged with LinkedIn? How has this helped you?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, we talked about the analytics a little bit, right?
Mhm.
So I could, if I wanted to, that could be a KPI, right? I could track the number of followers, the number of connections. I could track posts,
Yeah,
but
but
that
those
would
are
be
outputs. Let's talk outcomes here.
right. Well,
Talk some
the
outcomes with
outcome.
us.
All right. Yes. To your point. Yeah. See, I don't like outputs on my logic model either. Okay.
Okay.
So outcomes might be, I have those 5 folks, right? You jotted down your 5 folks that you want to get in contact with. How many have you been connected with? And what happened? I had a coffee date with them and it led to this, and then it led to this. Because there are at least 3 clients that I got this year that are new from that connection.
From that
Right.
connection. See,
From those,
that's a
yeah,
good,
from
that's
those
good testimony
connections.
right there.
Yeah. And not just that, the largest client that we got about a yearish ago is
I
someone
remember.
I've known for probably 20 years, right? How do you stay in relationship with somebody for 20 years that you haven't worked with in, gosh, probably 16, 17 years? Well, you got to stay top of mind. You can have a spreadsheet, and I do. I'm not always great about keeping track. Like, when was the last time I talked to this person or emailed this person or picked up the phone and called them, right? So LinkedIn kind of helps keep you top of mind for people, the past clients and the clients that you're trying to attract. So yeah, Matt, I mean, at least 2 or 3 clients. Now, I've heard people say that they get like pinged from LinkedIn, like, oh, I saw you on LinkedIn and I want to talk to you about your work. That has never happened to me. But I have been able to, cultivate relationships. And again, that biggest client was like, I know that had to have helped, that I just stayed in their mind. Yeah.
How do you keep from getting overboard? Because I mean, I think this is where we all found ourselves with Facebook 5, 10 years ago. We were all wow, I got to be involved with this. And then we were just getting sucked in. And then we saw our children getting even more sucked in because they were young and they didn't have
Yeah.
maturity
Yeah.
about it. And then, but I see this and I can tell some of my colleagues who are out there who are just constantly posting. I'm thinking, man, how do you have balance in your life? Because that's part of the problem. I feel like you get into it and you go, how am I just going to keep from getting sucked into the void, the LinkedIn void?
Right. Well, a couple of things. One, I try to pay attention to how I'm feeling, like how I'm feeling in my body. I am not on LinkedIn a million times a day.
Okay.
That is not. I probably check in the morning. I did it this morning. I comment a couple. I saved an article that I want to go back and read because there's a saved function. But one of the things I do is when I feel it in my body, like, oh yeah, I'm over this, or I feel like, oh, I feel like the competition thing is kicking in, I put it down. The other thing I do is Fridays are my no client call days. I try to really guard my Fridays. So that's my marketing, that's my administration time. That's also my have that extra cup of tea, just mental health reset. But in the morning, I'm blogging or I'm planning out the posts. So I have like a content calendar. I know what I'm going to talk about when, and I post it, I schedule it, I'm done. I'm not thinking about it all the time. It's not taking up all day. I hope that answered your question.
It does answer. Yeah, it's like my concern would be if I, get settled in after dinner and before we start to settle in, maybe watch a show at night, and I find myself back on LinkedIn, then I know I have a problem because I don't want to be doing LinkedIn at night, and I feel like
Yeah,
that could be the thing where I'm
right.
starting to get sucked into my energy gets sucked away because in many ways I
Yeah.
try and heavily guard my work time and my non-work time. All right,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
great.
I fully admit I'm just as addicted to my phone as all of us are. I try to put it down at night. I'm not always great at that, but some people just take all social media off their phone. You don't have to have LinkedIn or any other platform on your phone. You can train yourself to only have that on your computer, to only do it a certain amount of time, and in a certain kind of way.
Well, I am certainly excited about this, and I'm sure a lot of people want to hear some more about it. So we're gonna stop with the formal presentation and say goodbye to our YouTube folks.